Welcome to Space Chicken, a podcast that wishes it had $400 right now.
We're just more subscribers.
Yeah, either, both. Nah. I'd rather the money. Joining me as occasionally is Scott. Say hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Wilson wanted to do a 5-minute video, and I said no. We're doing a podcast, so I guess he told me to go fuck myself, and isn't joining us tonight. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on without him. And today we're talking about a sail. Shut your mouth. A sail. Yes, a sail. And not like a boat. Not like a cloth thing that's put on a boat in order to give it motion via wind. I'm talking about the Oculus Rift, whose price just dropped from $600 to $400, from $599 to $399, but only if you get the bundle that comes with the motion controllers. So those of you who don't know, you buy an Oculus Rift, you get Oculi, right? One Oculus is an Oculi, and it comes with an Xbox controller, best controller ever. And then they were selling the extra controllers on the side for an extra $100, the motion ones. When you added it up, it ended up being $800, which is the same as an HTC Vive. HTC Vive was their major competitor for VR dominance. There is no separation. You must buy the HTC Vive headset with the HTC Vive motion controllers. There's no separate option. It comes to $800 if you were buying the Oculus Rift and their motion controllers separately. It would come to $800, but they're doing it. They're doing it as a bundle for $399, which is super good, right? Because the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive are like the top of the line VR headsets that you can get. So the fact that you can get it with the motion controllers cheaper than what you can get them separately, which I can't stress enough. It is only on sale together. An Oculus Rift by itself still costs more than this bundle, and if you want the motion controllers separately, it still costs an extra $100. It's only for 6 weeks. I will not have that money in the next 6 weeks, which makes me sad. It's part of their summer VR where they want everyone to buy VR headsets, because you remember VR was supposed to be the next big thing. Has not taken off except for with old people and their Samsung Gear. Outside of that, VR has not taken off. Scott, tell me, if you had $400 extra, not like
just laying around.
Yeah, just like, oh shit, 4 bills.
Had to spend it.
Plus tax.
Right,
or you got the 4 bills plus the tax. You know, everyone do their individual sales tax for their states. Are you in? Are you buying it? Because I am. I'm sad that I don't have this money.
If you went back and watched previous recordings of us, you would know in advance my answer to this question would almost undoubtedly be a no.
Yeah, but if I went back and did that, we'd have no topic for tonight. So let's just rock.
This is my thing. I besides the fact that I don't really like it, I don't like the idea of putting this thing over and playing games like this. I find it, I'm looking at it kind of like, these are like the two biggest things right now. This is like one of the biggest ones, and it's the start of this new genre, let's just say, this new exploration, right? And I'm like, I wouldn't buy it now because it's kind of like buying I don't know, like an early iPad or something. And what I mean by that is, like, you buy it now, there's not as much for it as you would want for it to be, right? And then fast forward 2 years or a year or two, let's say 2, right? There's going to be better equipment out. Games are going to require more, right? And all of a sudden, you're going to have to get something better. And you would have spent money on this to get, I'm kind of looking at earlier iPads, because you buy that first iPad, you're like, oh man, this is awesome. And then, like, the next generation, it's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, 2 generations down the line, it's like, oh, mine's crap now. And it's like, I didn't even get to play the stuff that was coming out that would be worth it.
Okay, so counterpoint to that. Okay.
Dude, hit me.
All right. Both Oculus, aka Facebook, and HTC have both come out and said that this is not gonna work that way. It's not gonna be a thing where every year they're gonna come out with a new one. They've already said there's not gonna be a new Oculus Rift. Like, this is the VR technology, and I'm inclined to believe them, mostly because the way these things work are off of your computer. So the processing power is built in to your computer, not the headset itself. So the headset's making the VR, but you still need a computer that can run it. So that's and we'll get into that, because that's part of the reasons why the sales aren't taking off, because you need to first invest in a high-end computer. I mean, I invested in a high-end computer for VR, and now I don't have the money for VR. You know what I'm saying? So there's that part of it, and I guess we'll get by getting into it later. I mean, I told the whole story right there, but it's not an immediately replaceable technology like the low end VR headsets are. Like the fact that we're on to Gear 3 or 2 or whatever, and that's not even that old, because it's just a cheapy thing you drop your phone in with funny binoculars that makes you sick to your stomach. So knowing that. Right, so let's believe them, right? Which I know usually I say don't believe companies.
So it's future proof, is what you're telling me.
It's not future proof. It's just, think of it in terms of a game console, right? You buy a game console.
So how many years?
Give me 5 years, right? Let's say 5 years. Let's say 5 years.
5 years. So you're saying this purchase is going to be good for 5 years?
Well, yeah.
Let's just throw it out there.
Yeah, fucking full confidence. 5 years. Let's do this. I'm committing.
Quote him on that.
Yeah.
I still, right? So, like, obviously, there's a lot of caveats. Like, oh, if I had the computer for it and I had the money for it, would I get it to play it? Would I have bought this for the price? I still don't think, I personally don't think I would. I don't like the concept.
Have you tried it?
Have I tried it? No.
You gotta try it, dude. Change your life. Like, immediately.
I have no desire. I have no desire. I mean, you're right. I should try it. You're absolutely right. I should try it. I can't knock something until I try it.
Yeah, that's anal.
I just don't want a screen. How far away from your eyeball is the screen?
I don't know. About like that. I mean,
it's like an inch, no, more than an inch. Probably like 5 inches.
Yeah, but you're looking through. It's like there's like things here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not far per se, but it's not like here, right? I mean, it's here and then here. I don't know how to explain it to you any better than that.
It's not here. It's here. No, that's always been my concern with these things. One of those concerns, and I mean, you're right. Maybe it's something like somebody saying, "Oh, I don't need a touch screen phone," right? And all of a sudden they get a touch screen phone. They realize, how did I live without a touch screen phone? They're like, I'm not gonna type on a phone on a screen. You know, I want a keypad on I like my BlackBerry. And then all of a sudden you get a phone with a screen keyboard, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. Everyone's doing this and it works. So maybe that's what this is, and I just need to try it. But again, I $400. I mean, it's a good price for that thing. That's a really good price.
Yes, yes. For what is the highest end in virtual reality, right?
Yeah, it's
HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, the highest end in virtual reality currently available.
What's the biggest pull for these things right now? What's like, all right, so like you might say, oh, you get Xbox because of, or you get a PS4 because of Uncharted or whatever the hell they have, and then you get Xbox for the Halo or whatever the heck Xbox has got, right? What is making you say, oh, I gotta, besides the actual 3D component thing, just like, oh, it's because of 3D Pool that I need to get this. Like, what is it that says, oh, $400 is worth it because I've been wanting to do this? Okay,
so for me, it's my space games. I want to put it on and I want to play. I think Star Citizen's supposed to have VR support, but Elite Dangerous, I want to do Elite Dangerous in VR. That seems like a lot of fun. I've done.
Here's the thing: I could actually see a space game, a flying game, like a vehicle game, type thing. I could actually see that if you're, because you're sitting and it's like you're steering a ship and doing all that stuff. I could honestly see that. I think now that you said that.
I mean that's the most exciting thing for me. Period. So You brought up something very interesting, which I think is ultimately going to be harmful to the high-end VR scene, and that is that there are games for the Vive, and there are games for the Rift, and some games are for both, but some games are for either. And I think we get into kind of like a choppy thing because you need the PC already, right? And then you're like, all right, I have the PC and I have the VR headset, but they're like, no, not that VR headset. The other VR headset, and none of these games are good enough for you to justify buying one over the other. Like the big draw between one over the other is with a Vive you can walk around in space, not in space but in a space, right? 4x4 to 10x10, right? And then with the Oculus you can get the head movement, but you really can't move in space, and it actually feels you moving in space. That's a big difference between both headsets, and there's just some games who take advantage of the Vive doing it, and then there's other games that are just for the Oculus because fucking why not?
So let me ask you this then: if there was a table, and there was one on one side, one on the other, absolutely free, you could take it. You could only have one, and you could take it. Which one would you take?
The Vive. I would take the Vive. I made that decision a long time ago because I have tried them both. But the only problem is that the Vive isn't on fucking sale for $400, and the Oculus Rift is with the motion controllers. So it's essentially a 50% off sale for the next 6 weeks. And let's be honest, the game I want to play is the game where I sit down in a spaceship. Like, that's the game I want to play more than any other game. Is the game where I'm like, I'm in space. Like, that's what I want to do. So it doesn't fucking matter which headset I get, right?
Well, you want to play that, and what was that other one we played? Just Keep Talking.
Oh yeah, keep talking. Nobody explodes. That's another one where like I'm not moving. I'm just sitting in a fucking thing playing with a bomb. So, like those games, like the games I want to play the most, I don't want to walk around and move on.
I also, and I know this is kind of not talking about the sale, but I also wonder, like, how long, like, what is the difference between if you sit down on the computer screen and you play games for an hour, right, or something like that. What is the difference between the way you feel than after you played this for like an hour? Because like with the from just the standpoint of how you feel at the end of it, like if you have the goggles on, right? I mean, ignoring everything else, there's nothing else you can look at except for the screen. You know, like if you have your computer screen, you may look at the wall, or you may look over at the tower, or you may look down for a moment. But with the actual goggles on, you're actually the entire time.
Full immersion.
Right? So I'm wondering is the amount of time that you can sit and play shortened because of the constant exposure? I mean, your eyeballs, like when you're looking at a computer screen or a phone, you blink less, right? So there is this, when you're, occasionally you'll look away, and that's usually when you blink. But if you're getting no break from this, I'm wondering what that's going to be like. Are there going to be long-term effects to that, or are there going to be short-term effects to that, or is this going to be something that's nothing? I just feel like, I wonder, those nights they played like 4 hours of games till like 2 o'clock in the morning, is it going to be like you're playing this, you're going to feel so much worse?
So right now the biggest report of things with some people are motion sickness. Motion sickness has been reported less with the Vive and the games you move around with, because what causes the motion sickness is the sensation of moving without moving. That's what causes motion sickness. So in the Vive games where you move, it's reported less. But Oculus and the Vive overall have less motion sickness complaints than like the PlayStation VR, for example. I will tell you, I've tried both and felt fine. I did 15 minutes in a space game with the Samsung Gear VR, and I felt nauseous. Like 10 minutes of fucking playing on the Samsung one. But also, they say one of the computer factors is the terrible graphics. So like the terrible graphics in the Samsung Gear, and it's not like anything that's crazy. It's a phone. It's a fucking phone level of graphics, right? Like Samsung, so people don't understand how VR works. It takes your phone, it straps it to your fucking face, and it makes you look through binoculars to give you the 3D space. So because you're rendering off of such low-end processing power, at the end of the day, great for a phone, terrible for 3D space generator, it's, you know, I did get nauseous, but a lot of people, from what I can see, I wouldn't call them gaming marathons, but from what I've read from people, like they can do like a 4 or 5 hour session, no problem. You know, a lot of people complain more about having shit on your face for that long versus their eyes. You know, you got a thing right here. It's doing this number to your head. I mean, they're not like 1,000 pounds or anything, but you know, over time, I think after a while, you're gonna be.
I can imagine.
But not really though, because where you look is where you look. So you know, in order for you to stay focused.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I wonder why they're. I mean, obviously they're pushing it because they want to sell more. But I wonder if there's like something else they're pushing this for.
No, they want it. Well, okay, so you know, Facebook owns Oculus. Bought it for $2 billion. Oculus, by the way, which was a crowdfunded. It was a Kickstarter company. The Kickstarter, they made this, then they made $2 billion. Good for you, Oculi. But they want this to be the next big. They don't want it to be 3D TVs, right? Where 3D TVs was the next big thing, and everyone needed to get a 3D TV, and it was gonna be blah 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 blah. 8 people bought 3D TVs, and it was a total fucking bust, and everyone just moved on to regular TVs, and they're like, hey, let's just curve it, keep the D's the same, and we'll curve it. And everyone's like, fucking curved? You guys are out of control. It's like
it was a mistake that they're like, no, we meant to do that. It was...
So they don't want it to go that way, and it's why they've been out in force, you know, disparaging the rumors that they're going to come out with a new version of it next year. We're like, no, we're not. This is the headset. There's nothing that needs to be improved. The games will improve. The processing power of the computers will improve, but this doesn't necessarily need to jump leaps and bounds. And it's not cheap enough, and it doesn't sell well enough to come out every year. You know, it's not like a phone where you're like, I made an incremental improvement. I bet you'll buy it again. And then you do. Like, this is just, it's too niche to do that. But they want it to be less niche. They want this to be the gaming peripheral of the generation. You're muted?
Roll.
Peripheral.
My peripheral is muted. No, I get it. But everybody wants to corner the market, right? Everybody wants to be the name, like the go-to device for the market, and obviously they have the backing to put it on sale like this, right? So they got the money behind them to be like, no, we're going to cut prices and sell this at. I don't know. I wonder if they're selling this at a loss, or if it's like or if they're breaking even when they're selling it for this cheap. I wonder.
I think you brought up a great point earlier. They need a killer app. Like, they need the game that's going to make you want to play it, but the games that are going to make you want to play this are already like there's no reason to play like COD like in a VR headset, right? Like, there's no reason to play GTA. Like, it needs to be a game that requires full immersion, but then that crowd even becomes even smaller. You know, like of the entire gaming community, and they're like, oh no, I want a game that's full immersion, but also full immersion from first person. So now you're like, hey, playing a third-person game, VR, doesn't give you the full immersion, right? That is the same thing as just stapling a screen to your face at that point. If you're, like, playing a top-down, well, you know, a top-down map would be pretty cool if you could look around the room.
I was just thinking that if you were like a planner. Yeah, war table or something.
So like that. But even that would be like, your God mode becomes your first person. You know, if we take that perspective to that level, where you're like, I'm looking around the battlefield like from that God vision point of view, but if I look up from the battlefield, I can see whatever, you know, the war room or whatever. Like, that would be dope and immersive. But you have to have something that's going to sell that level of immersion.
Well, I don't think. I mean, space games
without
are good.
Fucking floaty hands.
I know floaty hands are horrible. I think there is definitely like something like a space game, you know, is a good pull for this. But you're right in the saying the killer app, like for someone like me who doesn't really want to play it, there's nothing that's like, you know, there's things you don't want in your life. You're like, I don't really want to buy that, but that game almost makes me want to buy that. You know, like that's what I feel like you're saying is that they need they need something to push, like to be their main draw. Like, yeah, get this, because then you can definitely play this game, which is the Kill Clowns game or whatever the heck it is,
Yeah, but ultimately their problem, neither one makes games.
Yeah.
Neither company is making games. They're both made a VR headset, and everyone else makes games.
Do you think they just assumed that like people would come run into them to?
Yeah, but it ends up being a little counterintuitive because if I make games, there's no reason for me to make a VR game. Right? Because you're asking me not to sell to a smaller audience. Right? So then what you end up doing is making games that are also available in VR, which means people will just not get them also. And also the type of games, because they want to sell that immersion, there's like 3 games that are just coming out over and over and over again for VR. There's the mini game, right?
The fishing.
Yeah, there's the horror game, right? The full-on horror detective kind of walking simulator style game. And then there's the rail shooter game. Like, they're just making those games over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to say, like, not bad games. Like, they're fun games, but they're not going to carry. Again, a game like Elite Dangerous will carry a VR headset, but you can play Elite Dangerous without a VR headset. And also, if you're going for the immersion, you're going to get the hands-on throttle and stick, too. So, like, I want that full immersion, but some people play fucking Elite Dangerous with an Xbox controller. So it gets touch and go. I don't know what the future of VR is. I want one of these. Someone should give me $400 to buy one of these.
Plus tax.
Depending
on the state.
8% sales tax over here. So that's 8 times. So 436. We'll call it 450 even. We'll go 450 even. Someone give me 450 and I'll buy one of these. And then I'll tell you if it's worth. I'll be like, dude, it was the best. Or I'll be like, guys, terrible idea.
But we promised an unboxing.
Yeah. Oh, totally. No, I'd probably be too excited. I'd probably put it on my face immediately and go, none of this worked. So
yeah. Go ahead. No, I got nothing.
No, I was wrapping up.
Go ahead. That's what I was saying. Go ahead, wrap up.
So I don't know. I don't know if this does anything for anyone. I don't even know. Again, like I said, what the future of VR is. I want it to be a thing. But just let us know. You want a VR headset? Does slashing the price essentially in half entice you? Were you on the border like me, where you're like, I don't got $800, and then finally they drop the price to $400, and like, fuck, I don't have $400 either. Also, just as an aside. Right, Oculus Rift, just footnote, they are coming out with a mid-range VR headset for $200. And it's like, who's that targeted at? Is it targeted at the low-end crowd with fucking Samsung and stuff? Because they've got that. PlayStation VR, they've got that market corner. Like, you don't splash there. Stay high-end. Be the, Rolls Royce of VR. Anyway, that's it. That's my tweeters. He doesn't want to talk to you. Fuck you, Wilson.
You gotta buy us the VR set when you get back.
Mike, just quick epilogue. Scott wanted to tell you something.
Oh yeah, everyone, you have to purchase this headset.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, Mike, during this 6-week span, you can get us all headsets for $400 instead of $800 a pop.
This means nothing to anybody else who doesn't know him.
It doesn't. This is an Easter egg. This is a DVD extra. Director's cut outro.